everybody. He's Archie. She's Edith. I'm the meathead. Liz is Gloria. No, wait, no. This is not All in the Family. This is Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. Drew, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Episode 11, right here.
Episode 11. Let's go.
What do you say?
Let's go. Toots, how you doing?
You know what? I think I'm still on a high from that Jake Reed video.
Yeah, that was way cool.
What about Jake Reed starting the show, guys?
That was cool. I mean, we've had Chuck Foreman, we've had Jake Reed.
Damn.
We're moving up in the world. I don't know how far up, like to the East Side Jeffersons, which was a spinoff of All in the Family, if you remember.
Yes, let's talk about All in the Family for a second. You know why? When these people tune in, they like our retro theme, and they like to hear a little bit about these shows we present. 9 seasons, 207 episodes, Ted, passing Laverne and Shirley's 178 episodes.
Wow.
Yes, they cut 207 episodes of All in the Family. What a great show. It was just Archie Bunker and Meathead arguing. It was the arguing that made the show. And one of my favorite parts of the show was Edith, who played by Gene Stapleton.
Yep.
And she would talk and Archie would get so bored he'd start doing like funny antics. And yeah, that's it. That's it.
Well, what about you two? What happened on your first date?
Oh, make believe you don't hear
Oh,
that.
I'll never forget it. I was at the Puritan Made ice cream.
Well, don't make it a long story, will you?
Me and my cousin Maud we was having one of their specials. It was called a steamboat. Oh, it was so delicious. 5 different flavors. And Archie was sitting at another table with that fella Jefferson Pratt. Remember him? Anyway, Archie was trying to get my attention. So first he put 2 straws in his nose like a walrus. And then he was shocked.
And everybody says All in the Family is a show that could not air today, and I kind of agree, because
Probably.
the stuff that was said, that was a show I was not allowed to watch when it was on in prime time. I was see my mom would not let me watch that show.
I think I watched an episode with Ruby once. She said, "There's no way this would be on TV." To this day, it's one of only 3 shows that have been number 1 in the Nielsen ratings for 5 consecutive seasons.
Really?
Glad we could do a shout out for All in the Family. And that's it for our TV retro.
All right. Well, since we're going kind of keeping the retro theme, we've got a very poignant jersey, I think, tonight for our jersey tribute. Who we got tonight?
We have Corey Stringer. Still remember where I was in the freeway at 4:30 in the morning heading to my shop. You, of course, probably remember where you were, but very, very tragic story and very sad.
Stringer had severe heat stroke, rushed to the hospital with a body temperature above 108 degrees.
We had a knock at our door. It was late in the middle of the night, and Mike Tice came in and said we lost him.
Tonight, since we're doing tackles in our preview, our positional preview, got to have Corey Stringer up here tonight.
Yeah.
Give a little love to Corey and talk about some of the things that guy was all about.
His untimely death sort of overshadows his career with Minnesota. But when he was at Ohio State and then with the Vikings, he was becoming one of the best right tackles in the NFL. He was early round pick for the Vikings, and then was on that great line of the 98 team, and had just made, I think, All Pro. Was it his 2nd year in a row after the 2000 season? And man, he was just a mammoth guy.
Yeah. I think when he was at Ohio State, you'd know better than I, naturally, since you keep track of that. Didn't they have Orlando Pace on the left and then him on the right?
Yes.
And then they had Eddie George and Robert Smith.
Yeah, that's some good teams. Unfortunately, John Cooper was their coach, and they never kind of lived up to the expectations.
Oh, that was the Cooper years?
That was the Cooper years, yeah. John Cooper recruited well, and he got some good players to come to Columbus while he was the head coach. And Corey Stringer was definitely one of those guys.
1st round pick, 24th overall, the 1995 draft, played 6 seasons, 93 games, and get this, Only missed 3 games in that period of the time he played.
Really?
Only 3 football games. Super durable.
Very durable guy.
I had heard that story about him on the way home after a Vikings game, seeing somebody with a flat tire and helping them change their flat tire. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Professional football, but Corey Stringer was all about he never thought about himself being on any kind of pedestal. I mean, person has a flat tire, he stops and helps him change the flat tire. And that's really awesome.
That's a good
really
dude,
awesome.
man.
Retired number, Ring of Honor. Very, very glad that he was a Viking. And I know you have a lot of memories of him being a Buckeye, of course. Tremendous football player, even better, tremendous person. Sad tragedy, but today we want to remember him for the good times and the good things he does. So
the late great Corey Stringer gone far too soon. But we talk about the jersey every week, and we like to pay tribute to past players that were members of the Vikings. And one of the things we're going to do this year in our live draft show is give away a jersey, and this year it happens to be a Justin Jefferson jersey. We're gonna give it away on Thursday, April 29th, the night of our live draft show right here on YouTube. Pretty easy to enter. All you got to do is watch the show, and at some point during the show, either Drew or myself will say what we've come to call our secret phrase. We don't know what it is. It's picked by Toonces and Liz after the show when they're in editing, and all you need to do is when you see the graphic that says this is the secret phrase, Corey Stringer was a quality human being or whatever the phrase may be, enter it in the YouTube comments below, and boom, you're entered. As of right now, we've got over 40 or right around 40 people that have entered for the jersey, and you can enter once per show. So there's been like 10 or 15 people that have put in one entry for each show. So they've got their name in 6 times. So you've still got 8 or 9 shows before we do this draft. So the more you enter, the better your chance to win.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Watch for the secret phrase. Go ahead and write that or type that secret phrase in the comments below in YouTube, and you're entered. Unfortunately, you can't go back to past shows and do it. The contest closes for that particular episode Wednesday at noon Central Time. So get on it. Get your name in there and win the Justin Jefferson jersey on Thursday, April 29th. So, all right. So that's our jersey. Got some Vikings news that sort of hit kind of all of a sudden today. The most recent news is cornerback Mike Hughes, the Vikings first-round draft pick in 2018. It looks like the Vikings are not going to exercise his 5th-year option. No. Had they exercised it, he would have made approximately $9.7 million. You agree with that? Not exercising his 5th-year option, Drew?
I do agree with that. And it's sad because it's, first round pick, still a young guy. You expect that pick to work out for you. And you're not even sure if that guy's going to play anymore, let alone he's not going to start on the outside. If he's going to start for you, it's probably going to be the slot.
No.
I don't think they could pay that much for him. Look what it does to that 2018 draft now. Look at
you look at that draft class. As you mentioned, Mike Hughes was the first-round pick, and I don't think there's anybody left after Hughes in that class.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
If you remember, he had that pick 6 against Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
The San Francisco 49ers on opening day.
Blitz coming. Garoppolo sees it, fired, intercepted, and a clear route to the end zone for Mike Hughes. Touchdown.
And that is it. That is it. It's been downhill since then.
You should have known, Ted. First round pick with a pick 6, his first game. You and I should have went. That's it.
Hall of Fame. I thought it was Hall of Fame bound. First game he was going on. He was on pace for 16 pick 6s that year, and he has 1.
God, between Treadwell first round and that guy,
he's got more neck injuries than he has interceptions, I think. That's not a statistic you want out of a first-round pick. I don't mean to make light. I mean, neck injuries are a serious injury, and he also blew out his knee, I think, his rookie year.
I'm not laughing.
You all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you?
No. But I mean, he's had more season-ending injuries than he's had interceptions. If you can't count on the guy to play, I mean, if he's coming off an injury every year, you can't expect him to be very good. And he quite frankly, he hasn't been. I thought he played very well in 2018, his rookie season, until he got hurt. And then in 2019, he struggled because he was coming off that ACL. And then 2020, he was finally healthy, and then he hurt his neck.
What's this team and neck injuries, man? I mean,
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Injuries in general. Seems like a lot of our top names get hurt a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of it sure feels that way. So Mike Hughes, fifth-year option, is not going to be tendered. So we're going to say goodbye to him, but we say hello to an old friend of ours, defensive end Stephen Weatherly, who looks like he's coming back to the Minnesota Vikings on a free agent deal. What are your thoughts on Weatherly coming back into the fold?
I was kind of bummed to see him go. I mean, I know he's kind of just a career backup kind of guy, maybe the Todd Hill of the defense. I mean, you look at his numbers, he has 6 sacks in 58 games. So he's not a big numbers guy, but I always thought he played really solid for us when he would come in and spell Everson Griffin, or maybe on the other side. I don't know who he came in for most of the time when he was playing a reserve role, but he seemed to be pretty solid.
Yeah. If you remember in 2018, that was the year he had his 5 or 6 sacks or whatever it was. And he was a pretty good edge guy. And he took over, if you remember, for Everson Griffin after Everson Griffin had to go on injured reserve and missed all those games or whatever it was for his mental issues. And I said at the end of 2018, the Vikings got rid of the wrong guy. I think they should have let Griffin walk and kept Weatherly, who was a free agent at the time, and he ended up signing with Carolina. And that just kind of goes back to the depth issue you and I have talked about in the past, that, the Vikings' depth has just gotten worse and worse because they let what we feel are quality backups, guys like Stephen Weatherly, go when they had an opportunity to keep them, and they kept their front guys and paid them a little bit too much money too long.
It seemed like he was getting right to the point where he was going to be a starter,
Yeah.
This is all like the developmental stuff with him, and then the next thing you know, he's gone. And I don't know. I mentioned something about it on I can't remember what group it was or something. Somebody lashed out at me saying I mentioned his stats on his sacks. It was just stating a point. And yeah, how many sacks do you have, Drew? What? Why do people get so upset about players and coaches, Ted? Why do they do that? People lash out in anger.
Yeah.
How many sacks do you have, Drew? Well, what? What's that?
How many do you have? Answer the question. I think it's a fair question.
How many sacks do I have?
All right, it's a family show. No, never mind. Don't answer that. I withdraw the question, Your Honor. So now that Stephen Weatherly's back, the defensive line issues are solved, right? We're good?
D-line. Yeah. It's fixed. Yeah, we're good.
Super Bowl, homeboy.
Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows. Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows.
Look, he at least was better for us than he was for Carolina. He didn't do jack for them. So maybe Minnesota is just some guys just play better in certain teams, I guess. So
yeah, maybe coming back will be good for him and good for the Vikings. I obviously
he's not going to be a starter or anything.
No, I think he'll be a good rotational guy like he was when he was here before. But the Vikings still need a lot of help on the defensive line. Although Stephen Weatherly may not be the answer, he is a guy that is definitely going to help with depth and what they had last year. I think that's for sure.
Totally. I'm okay with that.
All right. The other big one, and we talked about this last week. We thought, we kind of predicted it about Kyle Rudolph not coming back, and in fact he was released a couple days ago.
Dude, I can't wait for that draft show. And
it's
all you
fun.
people out there watching, we want you all there. We want you there celebrating with us with prizes.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some great breakdowns of the players. We got some stuff worked out for that, for the first round guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And even if you have friends that aren't necessarily Viking fans, have them join us, because we're going to talk about every team, because it's the entire first round of the NFL draft. What else do you have to do that night? I mean, unless you're like working a night shift or something. Well, then you got to work, and I get all that. But seriously,
hey, Ted,
come hang out with us.
Ted.
What?
We have Viking prizes, but I'm hearing that we're going to have an NFL prize for an NFL fan that might be a fan of another team who happens to be watching our show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go.
A prize for another, a bunch of Viking prizes. That we're gonna have one set for somebody that may be watching our show that's a Dolphins fan or something.
It's like more prizes than a Chuck E. Cheese counter, man. Let's go.
Chuck E. Cheese, dude. Those characters were kind of scary. Who the hell's that big purple guy?
Really freaky.
And the people working there, angry as shit every week, every time you went there.
You be? You got an animatronic rat singing to you every 10 minutes, and kids and moms yelling about the. Oh, and you make terrible pizza. It's terrible. Speaking of WR3, we got a viewer video question.
Let's do it.
From Reggie Adams.
The
Liz,
Smokehouse.
Roll the tape.
What's up, Drew and Ted? I love the Vikings report. This is your Gallahorn brother here, Reggie Adams Jr., a.k.a. the Barbecue Smokehouse King. I am just out here sitting on a beautiful lake doing some ice fishing right now, and figured I'd send in my video question of the day. One, I want to know who our wide receiver 3 is going to be coming out of this draft. It's not that I don't believe in BC Johnson or Chad Beebe or any of those guys behind somebody not named Thielen or Jefferson, but I think we can do better, and I want better. And so that is part one of my question, and the other part is, do you guys know what part of the pig the pork butt comes from? Just a fun little trivia tidbit. This is the Barbecue Smokehouse King. See y'all later. SKOL Vikings. Hoping to catch a few fish.
Good question, Reggie. Thank you again for the video submission. And again, for those of you that would like to ask us a question, send a video to the Vikings Report with Drew and Ted page on Facebook, and we'll make sure it gets on the air. We're going to do this a little bit differently. We're going to have a spicy hot take prediction. Who do you think the Vikings wide receiver 3 is going to be in 2021? Drew Bunting.
Marquez Stevenson.
Okay.
That's all I want. University of Houston, Marquez Stevenson. I'm not going to explain why. I'm just going to show you this.
Country in sacks.
They were able to manage it in the first half.
And this time, Marquez Stevenson breaks free. The speedster. Nobody's going to catch him. Big play, Marquez.
Oh, okay.
That's why we need Marquez. Burner, fastest guy probably on my top 15 when we did those last week. We don't have a guy with that kind of vertical speed. We don't.
No.
And you put that on the field with Jefferson and with Thielen, you got magic. How's that guy do it? That dude do it?
Magic. Magic.
Very good. All right.
So I rewatched your wide receiver breakdown from last week. And if you haven't seen it, folks, go back to last week, episode 10. We talked wide receivers last week, and Drew did an excellent job. I'm going with the assumption that the Vikings are not going to pick a wide receiver early. If they were going to pick a wide receiver early, my guy would be Rashad Bateman. But that's not my pick. I think they're going to go in the middle rounds, and I'm going to go with Daz Newsome.
Daz Newsome back to return this punt. He will field it at the 17. Boy, nice little move there. Sees a seam on the near side. Daz Newsome, he's to midfield. Boy, Daz has shown some nifty return ability today.
The guy from North Carolina, very good punt returner. I think they're gonna look for a guy that can do multiple things, and that's my spicy hot wide receiver 3 prediction.
That's a spicy hot take. Spicy.
I think so. Yeah. If they go in the middle rounds, if they go earlier, I'll be kind of fired up if they do.
And they're going to get if they wait till the 7th round, they'll get Joseph Schmo from where's he go to school? Where's Joseph Schmo? Where did he go?
Sabotage Tech Junior College.
That's stupid. That don't make no sense.
Oh, and then you had 2 years at Bologna Tech. We'll get him. He'll come in here, sit around for a couple of years, and then disappear.
And then they'll sign 5 undrafted free agents, and every single one of them is going to be the next Randy Moss. Because that's how it goes every year. Shoot me into the sun. Undrafted free agents, whatever.
I'm smart.
All right. The second part of Reggie's question, what part of the hog does the pork butt come from? Do you know that answer?
Not much of a pork butt guy.
We would expect one. I like pork butts, and I cannot lie.
You others can't deny. I don't know what part of the thing is the pork butt.
We should have expected a question like this from the Barbecue King, and it comes from the front shoulder part, just above the shoulder.
No, that's it. That can't be right.
It does. It is.
Pork butt, Ted. Butt. Butt.
I know.
Butt, shoulder. Butt,
it's
shoulder.
It's meant.
Butt, shoulder. Butt, shoulder.
It's meant to throw you off.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Knees and toes.
But that's where it comes from. I'm pretty sure.
Let's
throw the graphic of the pig up there, and we'll see if I'm right. So again, thanks for the question, Reggie.
I didn't know that's where all that came from. Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on a pig. Yeah,
I thought it was pork shoulder. Pork butt is the pork shoulder.
I don't know. It's look at the graphic. It's right there. It's right there. Right there. Right there. Right there.
Yeah.
And again, questions are open to anybody. So just send a video
Come on, people, send them in. I want to see it. Even if you want to do a promo for the show, send it in. We want to see you. We want to see you talk it. If you want to sing a song, send it in. We'll throw it on the show. We're here for you.
We're not American Idol, though. We're not going to be nice. If it's bad, we're going to roast you.
Don't take this personally, but
please.
No, I mean it.
You know,
we're going to roast you.
We're about the fans on this show, though, Ted. We give the people what they want. Remember?
Very much.
We always try to give the people what they want. You want pork butt info? We're going to find it for you.
So now
we get into our position.
We get into our positional breakdown, and this week it's tackle. And I don't know where to start here. After Riley Reif and Brian O'Neill, currently on the roster they got Rashad Hill, Aviant Collins, Blake Brandel. They have Dakota Dozier listed as a tackle, but he's played last year as a guard, and he was horrifically bad. I mean, it was like a car wreck every week watching him try to play. And then Ezra Cleveland, who was drafted as a tackle last year, they now have listed as a guard because he played guard last year. So
I mean, it all comes down to what happens with Riley Reif pretty much. But you got Reif. You got Reif and O'Neill, right? Look at the backups. Aren't you supposed to draft these guys and develop them, right?
Yeah.
Draft and develop them, and they're supposed to take the spots. So you're not running around in free agency getting a guy. You constantly have this wheel of developmental. Then when the other guy's gone, you move him in. Then he's gone, you move him in.
Yep.
Let's do Ali Udo. Let me ask you about that guy for a second, Ted. Ali Udo from the Elon.
They get him, they're terrible, and then they cut him.
What's going on with Ali Udo? What is going to happen with that guy?
I don't know. I don't know because I'm sick of guys like Ali Udo. I honestly am. because seriously, no, hear me out here.
No, I mean, is my question legitimate? Is it?
It's a very legitimate question. It's an extremely legitimate question, made illegitimate by Rick Spielman and the Viking staff, because last year we thought they did exactly that when they drafted Ezra Cleveland in the second round as a tackle, and everybody thought, oh, great, Riley Reif's got like 1 year left. They're probably going to let him go after 2020, and then Ezra Cleveland's going to move right in and be the left tackle of the future. They may even get rid of Riley Reif right now because they got this guy. Kind of maybe might be a little weird with COVID and not a lot of offseason stuff, so could be a rough start if they throw him right in the mix, but they got their left tackle of the future. And what did they do? They moved him to guard.
Did they even
because the guards they drafted and developed are terrible.
Right, so
for the love of God.
And then the backup guys they drafted to replace the guys that turned out to be terrible were even worse.
Right. So now it's a mad scramble. And then they start talking. Then they start talking. Well, if we move O'Neill over to the left, why? That's the one. Why? Leave the one guy alone that's doing a good job at that position, please.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
I don't know, man. The offensive line development has gotten to the point of, I don't want to say criminally negligent, but malfeasance to the point I think it's a fireable offense for Rick Spielman. Yet he's still here. He's still here.
I do too. I mean, a lot of it has to do with Reef. I don't know if he's staying, or it sounded like last year he was going to be gone with all that weird shit that happened at the end of the season about his contract and the money, and he didn't play and lost the bonus. And then it seemed like the Vikings kind of backtracked within the last couple of months, giving him that money. They've kind of backtracked, kind of showing that they need him here.
So that's the really interesting thing about Reef. It seemed like a foregone conclusion that he was going to be gone at the end of this year. He's got, if they cut him, that's like almost a $12 million savings against the cap, and that gets the Vikings in the green in terms of, over the cap or whatever. They're just cutting that guy, just cutting him right now would give them some breathing room, a little bit of breathing room under the cap. They still need to make more moves, but now it seems like, Chris Thomason tweeted that the Vikings want to restructure his contract and keep him at left tackle. And after the season he only allowed 21 pressures, just gave up 1 sack. And you talk about Corey Stringer's holding penalties or his ability to not get called for a holding penalty. Reef was only committed 1 penalty in 15 games this year.
Reef was the best lineman on the offensive line for the Vikings last year, easily.
He was.
He was the best player on the offensive line, I think.
And now, you've got the conundrum. If you cut Reef, what do you do at left tackle? We railed about moving Brian O'Neill from right to left. Do you take Ezra Cleveland out of a guard spot where he played fairly decently at, and are they going to just make that move permanent, or are you going to move Cleveland back to left tackle where he was originally drafted to play, and now you've got 2 guard positions you got to fill again? I just that whole, whether or not they can restructure Reef and keep him around for 1 more year is all of a sudden got really interesting for the Vikes.
I think that's what they want to do, because they want Cleveland to stay at guard. That way, at least one of the interior spots is taken.
Yeah.
You take Ezra Cleveland out of there, you're going into the season with like big red flags at both guard positions, and that is difficult.
Yeah. So. And then now you got to look at the free agents, and with the salary cap and everything the way it is, there's some decent players out there. You got guys like Trent Williams and Russell Okung and Alejandro Villanueva.
All too much money, though, wouldn't you say, Chad?
Yeah, I don't think the Vikings could afford any of those guys. I mean, maybe if there's one guy out there that I think they might be able to target, it'd be Jason Peters. But my goodness, he's 39. I think he was protecting Randall Cunningham's blind side in Philly.
Yeah, I don't want to go that route. Or this Ty Niski guy who's 36. Ricky Wagner, he's 32, played with the stinky team from Wisconsin. There's a few Cams on here. I really like Cam Robinson, who played for Jacksonville. I did a draft write-up on him when he got drafted. He's pretty young still.
Okay.
Cam Robinson from Florida State. I think he's a pretty decent player. But, I mean, you tell me what jumps out at you on this list, Ted.
Nothing affordable. I mean, like we said, the good guys that I think would be a good fit in Minnesota aren't coming here for 2 reasons. 1, they can't afford them, and 2, they're good, and we don't have good linemen.
They don't want to get ripped on by us on this show.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with me. I think if the Vikings are going to ball up all their money and try to get one guy, Ted, I think it's going to be a guard.
I would think so too.
Which we are covering
next week.
That's why I like working with you, dude. You know how to bring things full circle. You're a professional. Really? I only work with professionals.
What are we on a playground here, huh? Am I the only professional?
I'm an amateur in every respect of the word.
I don't think we're going to go free agent right tackle or left tackle or whatever tackle they're going to do.
I don't think so either. So that means the Vikings could very well once again be looking at people in the draft to develop, and then, or to draft and then not develop and then cut after 3 years. So who are some of those guys, Drew Bunting?
That was so well done. First, I want to clear something up. Somebody asked me during the week, Drew, you don't cover a lot of these top guys on your list of the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight ends, but there's a reason for that. First off, we're going to cover all those top guys draft night at our live draft show. Okay, Elizabeth, make the fireworks go off. Live draft show. Another plug for the live draft show. But to be honest, Ted, these are the fans that watch the show. They're Viking fans. They want to know what the Vikings are going to do.
Yes.
We get 45 minutes or whatever. You want me to spend 8 minutes talking about Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Nobody. We're not getting him.
No, we are not.
I'm not talking about him or Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. We're not getting those guys. So why spend time talking about them? But if you really want to hear about them, how good they are, there will be some draft research done on draft night. But up till now, this is really the first position where the Vikings may be able to get one of those top guys off the board if they go that route at 14. And if something happens with Reef, there's a good possibility they could go tackle at 14.
Now, before we get into tackle, we'll show the Vikings draft history. Since Rick Spielman's been the GM or making decisions, and since 2007, the Vikings have drafted 10 tackles. 1 first-round guy. Do you remember who that was?
Khalil.
Yep. Rhymes with Schlemazel, Hassan Pfefferkorn, Matt Khalil. They drafted
just fell off the map.
Khalil in the first round. They drafted Phil Lodeholt and Brian O'Neill in the second round. Oh, and Ezra Cleveland in the second round. And the other 6 guys have been 4th round or later, to include memorable names such as Willie Beavers and TJ Clemmings.
What, Beavers in the 4th round?
Willie Beavers.
You know what? There was no other team in the NFL that was going to even draft that guy in 7 rounds. I don't know why the hell they took him at 4. He's undrafted free agent written all over him, and we spent a 4th round pick on him.
Yeah, sure did.
So where's he? He's never
I don't know.
Poof, gone.
I don't know. Gone.
Gone. He's in the wind, is my favorite Joe Kenda would say.
They are in the wind. Oh, you sons of bitches.
All right, so let's look at some of your offensive tackles then.
I wanted to bring more people to the table tonight because, like I said, this is the first real position I think the Vikings, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. I don't think we're going to take one of those at 14. I really don't. I may be wrong. I'm wrong a lot. So let me run through these. I'll try to be quick about it. I'm not going to use Twitch. I'm not going to use any of the weird terms. I'm going to try to keep it on our level because we are all about you. We want you to understand this stuff like we do. First guy on my list, Penei Sewell. Won't be a Viking. Matter of fact, I already know where he's going.
Where's he going?
Well, I can't tell you that. It's going to save for draft night, Ted.
Oh, okay. All right. Top 5? Will you say at least top 5?
I know where the first 4 guys are going.
Oh, do you now?
Because you had to be a big shot, did you? You had to open up your mouth.
I got insider knowledge, Ted.
Oh, okay.
That's not the same as that insider trading that Stewart lady was doing. What's her name?
Martha Stewart?
Yeah, I don't get involved in that insider trading. I only do things on the up and up, Ted. I never do anything illegal when it comes to gambling.
So you didn't do the Reddit? You didn't do the Reddit buy GameStop, lose your ass scam?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
All right.
I do like Martha Stewart though. She's kind of a cool chick.
Okay.
Penei Sewell from Oregon. Across the board, probably the safest pick in the whole draft besides Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
You can't miss with this guy. Great
top 5,
balance.
So top 5 guy?
He'll be gone in the top 5.
Okay.
And we're not going to move up to take him, I don't think. But most of these guys you look at when you do guards and centers and tackles, they excel at one thing or another, pass block or run block, Ted. So you kind of have to roll with them with what they're really good at. This is one of those rare guys that is A+ at both.
Okay.
This guy dominates people. This is what he's going to be. Penei Sewell's going to play tackle for 8 seasons and probably go to 5 Pro Bowls. And when he loses a step and he loses a little bit of his lateral movement, he'll jump inside to guard and win 5 more Pro Bowls. That's the kind of player he is. So
he's definitely not going to ever play for the Vikings.
No.
Okay.
No, he will never play because he's very durable. He doesn't like to spend time on the IR. And our guys like to do the IR. Penei Sewell won't be a Viking, but you got to watch him. That guy is awesome to watch.
Okay.
Born to play left tackle. Next, is Elijah Vera Tucker. And I know you've heard his name, the guy from USC. People have him a little lower than I do. I have him at number 2. But the reason I do that is because he can play both guard and tackle, which he did Austin Jackson was in front of him last year's first-round pick. So 426 snaps from the left tackle position, 926 snaps from left guard position, and 139 snaps from the right guard position.
Wow. Very versatile guy, sounds like.
Very versatile. And I don't know, I think a lot of NFL coaches that have looked at him maybe think he's better as a guard because he plays a lot quicker in a tighter space than he does on the outside. Sometimes he has trouble with edge rushers, but all in all, I have him number 2 for his versatility. He's a really, really good football player, likes to get to the next level. Saw a lot of footage of him pancaking linebackers. So he likes to get out, outside, even though, I don't know if the offense is going to call for that, but Vera Tucker, my number 2. My number 3 on my list, Christian Darasaw, big boy, 6'5", 314 pounds, 2-year starter, all the games at Virginia Tech Hokie. He came in and started as a true freshman, which isn't easy to do in college football for a school even the size of Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Some say he's too nice of a guy, pancake blocks and then tears up and says he's sorry for pancake blocking you. Some of the research I found on him, some of the things said is that he's got this really extremely nice, like Michael Orr had in The Blind Side. If you saw that movie. It's not to say it doesn't really take any away from the talent, because you could be a pretty quiet guy and still bust some ass on. Probably the best thing I've heard about him is a quick learner. Only have to tell him once, won't repeat the mistake, and moves forward. Very good, very coachable, good work ethic.
Okay.
Very dominant run blocker, probably the best I've seen out of all the guys I researched. Moving on, Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, the Big Ten guy. You know how I feel about those Big Ten guys. Out of my top 15, this is the one guy that could play all 3 offensive line positions. Kind of iffy at center, but if you're emergency and you got to press him in there, he can play center, but he's better at tackle and guard.
Okay.
He's trying to become the first Northwestern player to get taken in the first round since Big Luis Castillo back in 2005 by the Chargers. Remember Big Luis?
Yeah, Luis Castillo. Yeah.
I remember watching him quite a bit. Better run blocker than a pass blocker as far as what I can see. Also really good in space. The one thing he's going to have trouble with is you watch Northwestern's tape. A lot of their passing offense was, a matter of fact, over 90% of it was the 3-step drop stuff. So he basically had to pass protect for like 2 seconds. In the NFL, he's going to have to learn how to hold his blocks longer. That's going to be a big test for him. That'll probably be the test of whether he makes it out alive or not. But he's a solid football player, and you're probably not going to regret taking big Rashawn Slater. I would have had, if I backtrack a little bit, Darasaw would have been the second tackle on my board, but he doesn't play guard. He just plays left tackle. So that's why I put Vera Tucker at number 2.
Okay.
Wanted to explain myself, so when people start ripping on me, I have an answer. Next, Jalen
How much
Mayfield.
left tackle did you play, Drew?
I never saw you out there giving time.
Never saw you get beat by a defensive end, Drew Bunting.
He's not even going to get drafted. Who taught you how to do draft stuff, idiot?
Who's next?
Next guy is Hail to the Victors. Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. Solid right tackle. Big red flag. Probably the biggest chance at tackle on the whole draft, just because he's only played in 18 games, Ted. Started 15 of them. He's only started 15 football games. And with your trench guys, whether it's offense or defense, me personally, I like to see at least 25, 26 starts before you're going to draft him. So it's really a chancy, iffy move, but he's got so much potential, and the guy could end up being such a good right tackle. He's going to go late first round, early.
How did he play? Michigan, because Michigan only played 4 or 5 games this year.
Yeah, they were
because of
shut down
COVID,
pretty much by the COVID. But you know what he's really put a lot of his draft stock on? The reason he's sitting in first or second round, he was thrown to the fire, dude. Murderer's row. When he got installed in the Michigan offense, he had to block Chase Young, you know him, Chase Young, and then he had to block Gross Matos from Penn State, who ended up being a second-round pick to the Panthers. Then he had to block, what was the guy, Julian Okwara from Notre Dame. The next game, you had to block him, who is a dynamic defensive end, and not to mention Anthony Jennings. That's who he had to play when he right out of the gate. He's never played. That was his first game, and none of them got a sack or a hurry out of all those guys.
Really?
So,
good for him.
Mayfield does have some talent. We'll have to see if he does fall to the second round. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. The next guy I got on my list is Sam Cosme from Texas. Can play left tackle or right tackle. Sam Cosme is athletically probably the best pass blocker in this entire class besides Sewell out of Oregon.
So we can cross him off the Vikings list then. An excellent pass blocker. No chance.
Really good at pass blocking. That's definitely his strong point. So yeah, the Vikings want the run. They want the run tackles.
Sam Cosme, we hardly knew ye.
Oh, that's beautiful, dude. That's beautiful. What else I got on Cosme? Very smart. He doesn't get fooled on any stunts or any blitzes. And you can see when he plays, he's very confident at what he does. Not so good at point of attack and run blocking. Like I said, his specialty is pass blocking. But if he gets out on the outside on you and gets his hands moving on you, you're not getting around him. You're not getting around him. He's probably going to go first round too. I have him first, early second, just like Mayfield. I think they're both going to get drafted, maybe back to back, Ted. If that happens.
All righty.
That'd be very interesting. Next on my list, from Notre Dame. One stat will tell it all with Liam Eichenberg. Let me tell you about this, Ted. And it's not easy going to Notre Dame and being the left tackle. Mike McGlinchey. I mean, the tradition they have there, you got to have your shit together to play there. Get this. 1,784 snaps between his junior and senior seasons.
Jeez.
3 sacks allowed.
No kidding.
1,784 snaps between 2 full seasons. He gave up 3 sacks. You're not going to find that. That is a tasty tidbit.
That's an impressive statistic right there. Yeah.
I think he'll be ready to go. 31 games under his belt. He'll be ready to go week 1. Does have some. They all need to be coached up. I don't want to say that about everything. All these guys have a certain amount. I mean, who doesn't? Everybody needs to be coached up. Maybe except Chase Young. Next, Dylan Radens, the kid from North Dakota State. After watching his tape, Ted, I have no idea why this guy went to North Dakota State. He could have played for any school in the country. Pancake Diddy, baby. Flopping people around like rag dolls, dude.
Now,
yes.
Any chance that has to do with him playing at FCS level and not FBS?
That's exactly what it has to do with. 27, here you go. 27 career starts, 0 sacks allowed in 12 games in 2019.
Wow.
It's got a mean streak in him too, Ted. Got that little bit of a mean streak kick you in the nuts.
Well, you know, the Vikings offensive line needs that. I think they need that nasty attitude back.
They haven't had nasty attitude or grit for a while.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
They haven't. That's it. That's all. I do have one guy I'd like to mention because he's such a freak, Ted.
Okay.
The freak of the week, number 15 on the Drew Big Board, Spencer Brown. He's
Northern
like Ryan
Iowa.
O'Neal, Northern Iowa. The guy is a converted tight end. The guy runs like a 4.9, but he's a bench press maniac. As a matter of fact, if they would have had the combine, this guy would have broke the Ernest record from 1999 of 51 reps. I guarantee you he would have broke it.
Really?
He's really, really, really good. Good player, but really raw too. So he made my top. He's such a freak though, man.
So if the Vikings go first round, which guy do you think would be available for them to be able to pick?
I think the first, believe it or not, even though I have Vera Tucker number 2, I think there's going to be 2 guys taken in the top 9. And I think it's going to be, of course, Penei Sewell. And I think Darasaw is going to be the next guy taken, even though I have it number 3. I think he's more of if you're just looking for a pure left tackle, he's second best to Sewell. And you know, guys, the pure left tackles get most of the attention because they're covering the blind side. So yeah, I think he will go 2 overall, even though I have him 3rd on my list. And then after that, I think it could be any of them, Ted. Slater, Vera Tucker.
All right. I think that does it for tackles. Next week, like you said earlier, we're going to hit guards. And now I believe we've got a commercial and we'll come back with trivia.
Oh, I love commercial. I love our commercials, dude.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. Did you try it? I'm not gonna try it. You try it. I'm not gonna try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
When you bring life home, don't tell the kids it's one of those nutritional cereals you've been trying to get them to eat. You're the only one who has to know.
Me, Josie. Now, bedtime is fun time because we have Dozie. Talking Dozie. We love the way Dozie glows and talks. Light up, Dozie. Want to show us? Yeah. Light.
Hi, wanna play?
I'll light up your room.
I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time,
Bet none of your other friends can do all that. Yeah.
talking light up Dozie.
From Galoob.
Dozie, my bedtime friends.
Toots is the driving cat, the cat who can drive a car. He drives around all over the town. Toots is the driving cat. Toots is.
A type of gun that doesn't shoot bullets. A ray gun. We're not going to win, are we, Ted?
No. No.
Joneses, look out!
We'll try and do better the next time. Drew, take us home.
Thank you, all those that keep viewing and keep those comments rolling in. I had a lot of fun talking with y'all last week on the comment section below the show. Make sure you comment. Make sure you get that secret phrase in and get your entry in for episode 11. And that's all I have. Say goodnight, Ted.
Good night, Ted.